Welcome to Seattle College's international programs and our show Conversations With, where we talk to people that help you understand how you too can be an international student in the United States and why Seattle Colleges should be your first choice. We'll talk to students and staff and agents and government folks, all kinds of people about what you can expect when you're getting ready to apply or travel here, what you'll experience while you're with us, and how it can all lead to an amazing life. Don't forget to check out the Seattle College's International Programs website at intl.seattlecolleges.edu, where you can find a treasure trove of information about the school, the programs here, and best of all, fill out and submit your application. Again, that's intl.seattlecolleges.edu. Hey everybody, welcome back to Conversations With. We are here at Seattle University. Bah, bah, bah. We want to welcome Kari. She is joining us from Seattle University, and she's going to give us some really great information. I have a feeling if you're thinking about transferring to Seattle U, or you're just thinking about coming here in the first place, you might have some really good information for me. Am I right?
That's right.
Because you're an alumni for graduate
school, yes. Yeah. So I am a former Red Hawk
right.
as well.
This is who's
mascot. This is Rudy the Red Hawk. This is our mascot. If you attend Seattle U someday, you may get a chance to see Rudy.
For
Very
sure.
exciting. So.
Well, cool. Yeah. So let's just talk about where you're located, because I think it's really important for our domestic students that don't have a clue, or people that are thinking about starting at Seattle Colleges, then coming down to your school. Where are you exactly?
So we're right in the heart of Seattle. So we're in the Capitol Hill neighborhood. Yeah. We're also very close to the Central District, to the International District, and we're about a 10-minute walk from downtown as well. We're also located in what's called Pill Hill, meaning that there's a lot of hospitals, which is great for our students who are in the nursing program because there's a lot of close by facilities, opportunities for clinical experience. So we're kind of right in the heart of it. We're really close to public transportation as well, even though a lot of things are walkable, including one of the Seattle colleges. We're about 2 or 3 blocks away from Seattle Central College. We're public transit, the Link Light Rail, a few stops away from North Seattle College, and you could take a bus to South Seattle College. So if you do choose to attend one of the Seattle colleges, it's not a big geographic transition that you're making to come to Seattle U, because we're kind of in that same vicinity. And
if you've never been here, if you're at North or South now, or you're just thinking about coming here, I think Capitol Hill is one of the coolest parts of town. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's so much. I'm a big coffee drinker, so
Me too.
There is a ton of coffee shops, but also a lot of variety of food. As soon as you step off campus, there's so many cafes and restaurants. So students really love that. We have a lot on campus as well, but it's nice to have the best of both worlds, to kind of have your campus experience, but to be able to be exposed to a lot of different things as soon as you step off campus. So that's pretty cool.
So one of the things I noticed about Seattle U when I came, this is only the second time I've been here, even though you're just blocks away from us, is that we're kind of more of we're just a couple of big buildings just within the block, so it feels like your city. But when you come to Seattle U, it's a really nice campus.
Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of insulated a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you guys have dorms right on the campus?
We do. And I'm glad you kind of talked about how Seattle U is a little bit different than the rest of the neighborhood.
It's true.
Because I really think that as well. It's almost park-like.
Yeah.
There's a lot of green spaces. We have a reflecting pool. We have a fountain. Very, very peaceful. So again, you really do get that best of both worlds. You're kind of in a nice park-like environment here, and then you step off and you're in the city. But we do have a lot of on-campus housing. It varies depending on where you are at class level. So we have 3 residence halls for our first time in college students. So generally students who are 18 or 19 years old. We have a residential living requirement. So students who are freshmen or sophomores and under 21 are required to live on campus. So Seattle U is very residential. Now, the students who are juniors and seniors or over 21, and this applies to many of our transfer students,
Yes.
like coming from the Seattle colleges,
Right.
they are not required to live on campus, but they can choose to on a space available basis.
Gotcha.
So they can still apply for housing. It's not guaranteed, but they can apply for it. And by the time you're a junior, you're open up to more like housing options. So it's less sort of one long hall of a bunch of rooms and more like suite style.
Oh,
or
that's kinda
apartment
cool.
style. Actually, the building that we are in is one of those facilities for like juniors or seniors that they can apply to live in, and it's literally like an apartment. So there's a lot of variety.
So do you have dorms that are just for international students, or are the international students mixed in with all the domestic students?
They would be mixed in.
Mixed in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So we have what's called a high school completion plus program, and a lot of those students that start, they're maybe 16 or 17. So if you're one of those students and you're going to come to Seattle U, expect to probably live in the dorms then. That's
Because high school completion students at Seattle U, you would apply to us as a first time in college student.
Good to know.
Usually the high school completion students, by the time they're done, usually they're around like 18
Right.
years old. So that would fit into the requirement to need to live on campus here.
Very cool.
So,
All right. So they come down, they have to fill out one application to get admitted as a transfer student and a separate application for housing, or is it all done on one application?
it is separate. So we have one application to apply to transfer to the school.
Okay.
And then if you're admitted and you decide to attend Seattle U, then you get a checklist of different items that you need to complete.
Right. Okay.
We actually admit students, including including international students.
Yeah.
I want to make sure to clarify.
Yeah.
Every quarter. So every quarter is open. We're on the quarter system, so that includes fall, winter, spring, and summer. Summer is a much lower intake, so it's
Right.
mostly fall, winter, and spring. But what happens, and the timing depends on your quarter, is if you decide to attend Seattle U, then eventually you'll get like a checklist of different items to complete. So
Okay.
it might be things like submitting your final transcript, uploading a photo to get your campus ID card, and then applying for housing is one of those.
Okay.
So that includes all the information that students would need to know to get into that housing process.
Right.
Most of our students are starting in fall, and the housing process typically takes place like in June or July. So students might know if they're admitted as early as March. So there is a few months that you'd be waiting before you get into the housing process, but typically that's all resolved like in the middle of the summer.
Right. Well, if you're taking people any of the quarters, which is really interesting, by the way, if you take people any quarter, what's the deadline for application? Or is it can they apply all year long, or?
Yeah, it's sort of all of the above.
Okay.
So first and foremost, it does depend on your major, because we do have just two programs that are fall start only. That is nursing and diagnostic ultrasound, only fall.
That's good to know.
And those deadlines, December 1st for nursing for the next fall, and then February 1st for diagnostic ultrasound for that fall. Now everything else is open every quarter, and the deadline is just going to depend on when you're applying. Right. So right now our next intake is winter quarter, which starts on January 3rd, and the application deadline was November 15th. Okay. Our next one is spring. That deadline is going to be February 15th. Right. Again, the biggest one is fall. Our priority deadline is March 1st. We recommend students apply by the priority deadline because, like we just talked about, there's a checklist of things for you to do. You want to have time to do it. But we actually do take transfer applications, including from international students, all the way up until August 15th. But we strongly encourage students to apply earlier.
Don't wait. We recommend. And you were just at our campus at our transfer fair. So you'll be back in the spring. Do you guys come to a spring transfer fair as well?
We try to come whenever we can. We love it.
You're always
It just
welcome.
depends on when the fairs are scheduled. There are some international focused transfer fairs every fall and winter.
Okay,
so
winter. That's
yeah.
right. Okay.
So the fall one is usually in early November.
Yeah.
And then the winter one is the last week of January. And I believe the one at the Seattle colleges invites students from all the Seattle colleges. So they have it at Seattle Central, but all the students are welcome. So we get to connect with a lot of students there. It's really great.
And we would like to see more students at that transfer fair. It's been a little quiet the last couple times. So guys, mark your calendar. It's a great opportunity to meet in person. Come down. And if you're going to be that close, you could also come here, I'm guessing. You give tours of the campus?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And especially for students at the Seattle colleges, very easy to get to us.
Right.
So we offer tours twice a day, every weekday except for Wednesday, where we only offer it in the morning. So Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. we have tours. Wednesdays, it's only 10 a.m. And many weeks out of the year, we actually have Saturday tours as well.
Oh.
Those are at 10 a.m. and noon.
So do they have to like sign up for a tour online, or do they just send you an email, or how does that work?
Yeah, there's a sign-up process online. The tour consists of a 30-minute info session that's led by a staff member from our office.
Oh, cool.
So it could be a transfer counselor, it could be a first-time in college counselor. We talk about general things like the academic programs at Seattle U, student life, scholarships, financial aid, how to apply, all the important things like that. And then the tour itself, you get to go outside and you're walking with one of our student ambassadors who's taking you around campus for about an hour. That is a really cool experience because our student ambassadors have so much knowledge about what it's like to actually be a student here.
Right.
They can talk about what it's like to live in one of the residence halls, what it's like to use the library, and it's a really interesting experience. Right. So if you have the chance, I would highly recommend taking a tour.
Definitely. I mean, it's so close. Why not? And I was looking through this international student guide before I hit the record button, and it was talking about how many nations are represented here. You have students from all over, it seems like. Yeah. So if they want to meet, let's say I have a student at Seattle Colleges from Brazil, and they want to talk to a Brazilian student here, can you guys set that up?
Not necessarily in the early stages of the visiting campus as a prospective student process. But what I would say is that international students, there is an international student orientation. So that's probably a good opportunity to get connected to students from a wide variety of backgrounds. We have an international student center here. We call it the ISC. They do a lot of social programming throughout the year as well. So there are a lot of opportunities to connect with other international students on our campus.
Can you give me an example of what kind of events they might put on?
Yeah, one of the events that I really enjoy is the International Student Dinner. I've gone to that in the past. Students from a wide variety of countries, they prepare dishes from their home country.
Really
and
great.
They share it with the whole campus. And there's a lot of performances, there's a raffle.
Oh, that's cool.
Just a lot of fun. It's meant to be very celebratory and time to be together.
Yeah. No, that's really great. Anytime there's food involved, I'm pretty happy about that.
There's plenty of food.
Well, let's talk about getting here. You have to transfer. So we are tag partners. Can you maybe explain to the audience what does that mean, how it benefits them, and what they need to do to actually get from Seattle Colleges down here?
Yeah. So the tag agreement basically says that if you're completing a transferable associate's degree with a 3.0 GPA or higher, you would have guaranteed admission. For Seattle U, what you'd have to note, though, is it doesn't necessarily guarantee admission to any major because we do have certain majors such as nursing or diagnostic ultrasound or business analytics that have very specific requirements. But the 3.0 GPA and your associate's degree would guarantee admission to a major at Seattle U if you're flexible. But what we would recommend is we have a team of transfer admissions counselors here who knows what all the prerequisites are and specific requirements for the majors. We can talk to students at any stage of their journey. So if they decide to attend one of the Seattle colleges with the intention of later transferring to Seattle U, as soon as their first week of classes at the Seattle colleges, they're free to contact us, set up an appointment, and we can walk them through what the requirements are for their major if it's something that might have a few extra requirements. We're happy to talk to students at any stage of their transfer journey so they can really be planning out those prerequisites and knowing what grades they need to get, things like that, so that they have the best chance of possible getting into their desired major.
Awesome. So if they get all their work done, they get the application in, can they expect to be considered for scholarships? Is that something you guys offer? Yeah,
and we love talking about that with international students. That's a super common question we get at those fairs that you were talking about.
Yeah, of course.
Every student who applies to Seattle University, and this absolutely includes international students, they're automatically considered for a merit scholarship through the admissions process. So nothing additional to fill out, just the admissions application that you're already completing. We are going to review them for a scholarship through that. And then what happens is if they're admitted and they receive a scholarship, they would be notified at the time of admission. So it's in the admissions letter. And you can kind of start doing that mental math of what your cost of attendance would be.
Right.
But we have a few other scholarships that international students are eligible for. So in the community colleges, there's something called Phi Theta Kappa, PTK. It's a transfer honor society. If you're part of that, all you need to do is answer yes on the question of the application that asks if you're a PTK member. And there's a PTK scholarship for $1,500 a year, renewable up to 3 years. But a really good scholarship that we want to highlight that international students are definitely eligible for is the Alfie Scholars Program. That's $15,000 for 2 years. So $30,000 total. That's on top of anything else you might be getting. So if you're getting like an admissions merit scholarship and a PTK scholarship, you could still get the Alfie Scholarship and add all that up. It really helps with the cost of attendance. Now the Alfie Scholars Program, it does require an additional application. And that's due on April 30th. And it's only if you're applying for fall quarter. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're thinking, I might want to transfer to Seattle U early, maybe in the spring, but you want to apply for Alfie Scholars, you do have to apply for fall quarter.
Okay.
Apply by April 30th. It's a cohort program where 10 students receive the award. And it's a leadership training program focused on civility training. So students have specialized advising, they do activities together. It's a really cool program, and they get all that in addition to receiving the funding.
Are those 10 slots just for international students, or is it a mix of domestic and
It's for community college transfer students. It is reserved for community college transfer students, and that includes international students.
Okay.
They do have to have a 3.5 GPA, so some good motivation to really work on your grades at the Seattle colleges, so you can be eligible for that scholarship. It's a great one.
That is really great. If I could go back just a second, because I got to tell you, I've never even heard of this Phi Theta Kappa, is that what you said? Can you tell us more about that? Because you're the first person I've talked to about that. Is it something that, I mean, I don't know that we have that at our school. I've never heard about it. So maybe can they join? If they're at Seattle colleges, can they sign up for this? Is there an application? I don't know. It's a group they join, or
since it is something that takes place in the community colleges, I'm not the expert in how you would sign up for it. But we have seen lots of students come through who are members.
Interesting.
So I'd recommend the best person to ask is probably the community college advisor. I'm sure they know how to get in. But I will say we also have a transfer honor society here at Seattle U called Tau Sigma, and that's also cool because for students who are part of it, some scholarship opportunities may open up through that.
That's
not
really
from Seattle U, but if you're part of the Honor Society, you can apply for scholarships through the society. So in order to join that Honor Society, you need a 3.5 GPA after your first term of coursework at Seattle U. So 3.5 is kind of the magic number, I think.
It is, yeah.
So.
And that's not an easy number to hit. I mean, those are good grades, right? I mean, so I've got my own research to do. I love these podcasts because I learn something every day. So I've never even heard of these. So I'm going to go check it out and see what we got going on. That's really great. So we've talked about the money they can get, but what is going out the door? So one of the first questions everybody always asks me when they come and talk to me about coming to Seattle College is, hey, what's tuition? How much does it cost? Can you kind of lay out what they might expect to deal with when they come?
Yeah, so tuition for the current academic year, we're in 2023 through 2024 right now. The tuition is around $53,000. I think the exact amount, it's not in front of me, but I think it's $53,235. We could probably verify in that handy brochure there.
Sure.
But then you have to add on some extra cost of attendance, so like books, transportation, incidental expenses.
Right.
Now, for students who are living on campus, it's closer to around $73,000. And for students who are living off campus, perhaps with relatives or on their own, it's closer to $64,000.
Nice. Well, the scholarships definitely help.
They help.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. So if a student's considering Seattle U, they might also be considering some of the other close by. So what is it that makes Seattle University so special? Like, why would they choose you guys, say, over UW, for example?
Yeah, so we're more of a mid-sized university. So one of the things I hear our students talk about the most is the small class sizes. So our average class size is 18.
Oh, it's
now, what
small.
that means is your professors know who you are.
Yes, which I think is great.
Is a good thing because they can always check up on you. Like if you miss a class, they'll reach out and ask how you're doing and how they can support. And there's a really strong relationship there. But you also get to know your classmates really well.
That's true.
By having smaller classes, that really lends itself to group work, presentations, class projects, and that kind of thing. And through doing all of that, you're really developing, what employers call soft skills.
Yes.
You're doing a lot of public speaking, you're doing a lot of critical thinking, collaboration, you're learning how to work as part of a team. And our small class size really lends itself for students to be able to develop all those skills. So students love that. They love the support they get, they love the easy access to their professors, and they love being able to develop that skill set in the classroom. All of our classes are also taught by professors and not teaching assistants. So that's
great.
something that students look for. So the small class size and the mid-size environment is definitely a draw. The location, of course, that we talked about, and not only for just the fun aspects of being right in the heart of the city and having a great, beautiful campus itself, but also for students who are interested in exploring internships or off-campus opportunities because of our location in Seattle in general, but also close to downtown. We're close to a lot of big tech companies, a lot of businesses, museums too. We're not just limited to tech and business here in Seattle. Students have outdoor recreation, they have the arts, they have nonprofits. Seattle U is really focused on volunteer opportunities in the immediate surrounding neighborhood as well. So our location really gives students a lot of opportunities to get involved. But we're also a very mission-driven institution. That's something that we talk about on our info session if you ever decide to visit us. And our mission has 3 parts. So we're dedicated to care for the whole person. So we talk about that as holistic education here. Professional formation, and also empowering leaders for a just and humane world. And you really see all of those 3 things play out throughout campus. We really care about students as whole people here at Seattle U. So we don't want it to only be about going to classes and that's it. We want students to be getting involved and really thinking about, what does it mean to be a whole person? How do I want to contribute to the world? And a lot of our classes really help students think about that too. And I love that professional formation is part of our mission because a lot of students really are wanting to develop skills to go on to the next thing, whatever that may be, a job, graduate school, service, any number of things. And because our classes are really set up to help students focus on that, and we have some excellent career centers here on campus, students have a lot of opportunities to be thinking ahead to what comes next and preparing for that.
So, let's talk about work for just a second. After they get their associate's degree at Seattle colleges, they can do a year of OPT, but then after they get their bachelor's degree, they can also do more OPT. Do you guys assist with that at all? Do you guys have internship opportunities for them? Do you have partnerships with local businesses like, say, Amazon or Microsoft or something like that? I don't know what you guys have as far as partnerships or... Yeah,
so we have 2 career centers here on campus. One of them is our Career Engagement Center that works with all students of any major. And then we have one called the Albers Placement Center that works specifically with business students. Both of those career centers, they have staff that focus on the one-on-one student advising, coaching with writing resumes, how to find internships. But we also have people who are dedicated to building relationships with employers and planning events where employers come to campus. So we have 3 career fairs every year. The one in the fall is focused on business and engineering, and then the ones in winter and spring are open to absolutely everything, the whole variety. So we bring employers to campus for that, for example, but there might be an info session here or there where a local recruiter from a company comes, or doing mock resume reviews or mock interviews with students. So there's a lot of people who work on our campus who are focused on those partnerships. And we also have a job search database specific for Seattle U students that outside employers will post opportunities on. And those are a good thing to look through because if an employer is posting it here, that means they're actually taking the step to put a posting with us because they want to hire Seattle U students.
Oh, interesting.
So, chances are, like, if you apply to the job, they want to see Seattle U applicants. So that's a really good thing. So that's a good way to know kind of what employers are good opportunity to apply for. So there's a lot happening on campus for career engagement. And you mentioned OPT. I think there are opportunities for CPT as well, which is curricular practical training. Right. So to be able to do internships as well. Cool. So that's part of it too.
Yeah, and you're getting credit for that. It's going towards your degree, which is really great. I kind of wanted to focus, if it's good with you. I have a lot of students. I just came back from Africa, and a lot of people are interested in nursing. And you had mentioned nursing. So I don't know what you can tell us about. It's a tricky pathway, at least at Seattle colleges. So I'm guessing let me just ask. What would you like to see a student be doing at Seattle colleges if they want to come here and continue on with nursing? What would that look like?
Yeah, so I'd recommend that students start early and work really closely with both their advisor at the Seattle colleges, but also reaching out to us. As you mentioned, nursing, it's a very specific pathway. It
is very specific.
I'm guessing this is true for many colleges, not just Seattle U, but at Seattle U, for some additional context, our nursing program for transfer students, it's a cohort program, which means students need to come in with 90 credits in junior standing, and they need to have essentially their general education requirements done. Because by the time they start here, it's a 2-year cohort program. You're in lockstep with the other students. So you need to have prerequisites, general education done. You need to be a junior so that you're just focusing on the nursing classes and clinicals.
Right.
So when you kind of take that end goal, like you need to have all those things done by the time you want to transfer, you work backwards. That means you have a lot of work to do when you're at the Seattle colleges. So you need to complete prerequisites. You need to be doing 90 credits, and you need to be fulfilling general education. The nursing program is also, quite competitive just because we have limited spots that we can offer due to clinical placement capacities, which is not set by Seattle University. So students, our recommended GPA for transferring as the minimum is a 3.0. Both cumulative and prerequisite. But typically students who are admitted to the nursing program need to have a 3.5 or higher. So really it's important, with all that considered, they should be talking to their advisor at the Seattle colleges early on so they know exactly what prerequisites to take. And they should be talking to us here at Seattle U to understand what all of our specific requirements are. Because we also have things like time frame requirements. We have things like this amount of prerequisites needs to be done by fall if you want to start the next fall, so we can consider your application. Very specific. So
that is pretty specific.
We want students to email us so we can email them back with all that very detailed information. We do a lot of information sessions all year for nursing, so students can definitely sign up. And we go through just step by step all of that specific stuff. Right. Students can join at any point. So again, going back to that example, it could be their first week in the program, but if they know they want to do nursing, they're still welcome to come to an info session.
Let's say they are doing online education from overseas and they're going to wait and then come to the United States after their first couple of years maybe. Can they do those info sessions virtually? Do you guys offer those online?
They're all virtual, yeah.
Oh, they're all virtual.
It's perfect for anyone who wants to attend.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, so in person as well?
Not for nursing specifically. They're all virtual.
There you go.
But again, we do our just general Seattle U in-person info sessions with the tours. Right. So anybody who's just wanting to get a sense of what does it feel like to be here and get some general information that way is welcome to come.
And you said diagnostic ultrasound, similar kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of similar. Yeah, there's fewer prerequisites, and the prerequisites are slightly different, but it's the similar idea. You need to come in as a junior. You're doing a cohort program.
Right.
Yeah.
And they graduate with a bachelor's degree in diagnostic ultrasound?
Yeah, so it'd be a Bachelor of Science in Diagnostic Ultrasound. We have 3 tracks, and so actually students apply to their preferred track, and then they would state their preference, and we try to take that into consideration as much as we can, but each track might have different availability. So we have cardiac, we have general, and we have vascular.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I had no idea. That's really great.
But what I will say is I know it sounds kind of daunting to be talking about all these specific requirements, but what's really cool about coming from the Seattle colleges is we have so many transfer students from the Seattle colleges that we know what the equivalent courses are. There's no mystery in being able to say, this is the exact microbiology course you need to take. We know what it is. We can easily tell you. We have it all mapped out. So there's really no mystery for students in terms of figuring out what courses they have to take. So that's a really good thing about transferring from the Seattle colleges.
Nice. So I have a lot of students that ask about sports programs. We don't have them at Seattle colleges. We have some club sports or whatever. If they want to come down, you guys have sports programs here, so they can definitely be spectators.
Yeah.
Are there walk-on tryouts? Like if I had a kid who was from Brazil and really wanted to play soccer, are there those kinds of things, opportunities? Or is it mostly you have to be here as a freshman in order to do that kind of stuff?
Transfer students can look into athletics, but we always encourage that those students are talking with the coach directly to see what process they should follow.
There you go. And what sports do you guys offer, just for fun?
For fun? Definitely volleyball. I know that because a lot of folks in our office are very interested in volleyball.
Is that right?
So that's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Do you play?
I do not play. Unfortunately, I think that would be fun if I could, but
can always start.
Can't do it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have. I'm not sure off the top of my head all of them, but we do have both intramural and club.
Cool.
From what I understand, the club is a little bit more. Club sports are a little bit more formal because it might involve like some regional travel, like know, competing against other like local colleges with a similar sports team. And intramural is more you want to have some fun with your friends and play a sport. So we got it all for any sort of level of recreation or sports students want. There's usually something you can find.
And I don't know. Are you Division II, Division III?
We're Division I.
You're Division I?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's really cool. I'm learning also. I'm not from Seattle originally. I'm from Oregon, but so I'm a transplant. But wow, really interesting. Well, we're already at 30 minutes. I wanted to give you an opportunity to offer last pieces of advice. I know when I'm out on the road and I'm talking to students, I always get the same kind of questions over and over. Is there one question in particular you hear all the time that you want to make sure you give the answer to here, or is there some other advice you want to offer people that are thinking about transferring here?
I would say the question we get the most is about scholarships, and we covered that. But the advice I would want to give, and I've kind of said this throughout, but I really encourage students to start early in terms of their transfer planning. You have excellent resources with your community college advisors. They know the courses so well, and then you also have resources here. So I really encourage transfer students to be doing, or kind of that dual system of talking to both your community college advisor and transfer admissions counselors here, because some majors do have prerequisites. So if you want to apply to those majors, and if you want to be pretty well along in your degree by the time that you're admitted, those courses are offered at the Seattle colleges, and with some early planning you can make sure that you're taking those to be on track with a degree program here. So I definitely encourage students to start early, ask a lot of questions, check out the resources we have about what courses to take, visit campus. Those are all things that really set students up well to transfer.
And again, they are literally, if you don't know this already, they're just down the street. So there's really no excuse for not coming down and checking it out. I mean, even if you're like 90% sure you want to go somewhere else, give it a chance. Come down, walk around the campus, come talk to Kari or one of the other staff members here, and they'll set you up with some information. I think it's worth your time.
Definitely.
Well, that's really great. It was so great to meet you. Thanks for all your time and all the information. It's good to be here. Yeah. I'm going to go walk around, I think, and take some photos.
Yeah, enjoy the beautiful campus.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks so much. Have a great day. Happy holidays, everybody. Bye. Conversations With is painstakingly crafted for you by the Seattle College's International Programs Department and supported by the lovely folks here on our campus. This show is produced and edited by me, Evan Franulovich. We welcome your emails and questions about coming to Seattle Colleges. Please reach out to us via our website, or just give us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, as this helps others discover the show. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube at Seattle Colleges INTL. That's Seattle Colleges INTL. And be sure to check out all of the shows here on Conversations With. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.